You are listening to the global network of podcasters dedicated to the pharmacy profession. Welcome to the Pharmacy Podcast Network.
Welcome to the 2026 McKesson ideaShare Rewind, a Pharmacy Podcast Network exclusive series of on-site interviews captured inside the exhibit hall of one of the largest community pharmacy brainstorm events, empowering current and future independent pharmacists with deeper connections, new ways to innovate, and strengthen numbers for the voice of community pharmacy. This 4-part series brings you back to the action in Denver, Colorado. We'd like to thank AAPA for sponsoring this episode of the 2026 McKesson ideaShare Rewind.
Hello, this is Shibley with AAPA, and you're listening to the Pharmacy Podcast.
Kelli, Shams, welcome to Denver. This is exciting time here at the exhibit hall. I am just pumped up. I had coffee. I think I'm going to get a couple of those fruit smoothies over there in the IPC booth. But welcome to Denver. How are you guys doing?
We are doing great. We're excited to be here. We're excited to meet with our members. We are doing some great things and excited about our dinner tomorrow night.
Shams, you've been in Denver before. This is your first time.
This is my first time here. I've never been, and I'm really excited to get out and explore the city if we have any free time.
That's just it, though. I talk with my family, talk with my friends. Some of them that don't get to travel, they're like, you're so lucky. You get to go to all these places. I'm like, listen to me. I see the inside of an Uber. I see the inside of the airport. I see my hotel. I see the conference hall. It's very hard sometimes to get out with how busy we get, but Denver's beautiful. I'm so excited we're all here together. All right, let's get this started. For listeners who may not be familiar with AAPA, what is this organization? Shams, what is AAPA?
Todd, AAPA is a national group purchasing organization dedicated exclusively to independent pharmacy. Today, we represent more than 650 independent pharmacies across 28 states. And our mission has always been simple: to help independent pharmacies remain competitive, more profitable, and better positioned to serve their communities. Our goal is to negotiate, the way that GPOs work essentially is to negotiate competitive purchasing contracts and provide operational resources. And we take it one step further, and we advocate for long-term success of independent pharmacies as well.
I've entered pharmacy 2004, didn't understand pieces of the puzzle. Buying groups were a huge part of our success in technology entering. There's a trust factor in our buying groups. Kelli, there are several buying groups out there. What makes AAPA different?
What separates APA is our philosophy and also our company structure. We're governed by a board of directors that all own independent pharmacies, so they're in the trenches with our members. And we don't believe in simply signing members up and hoping for the best. We build relationships, and we have that extra care. We know our members personally, understand and get to understand their business and work alongside them to improve performance. Our focus is transparency, education, and helping pharmacies maximize every opportunity available to them. And that's by bringing resources too that will help streamline and make their operations more efficient.
Shams, I know there are a lot of things going on in the life of our independent pharmacy owners. There's payroll, there's HR issues, there's the community, there's public relations. So much is going on. So a buying group is extremely important. What is it like when someone joins AAPA? What does that relationship actually look like?
So our support begins immediately. Every member has access to our team, and we're constantly reviewing savings potential. We pride ourselves in being proactive rather than reactive, and we don't wait for members to ask for help. We're always working to identify opportunities that can improve their bottom line.
All right, I keep hearing about Advent Edge, and it's a portal, something obviously to do with data accessing and information. Kelli, what is Advent Edge?
AdvanceEdge is a proprietary business intelligence platform, and we're actually partnered with them. They're a separate business from APA, but we are so excited that we've been able to have or bring access to this to our members now for 5 years. but it's actually taken to the next level, and there's a lot of new concepts being introduced, but it takes purchasing data and transforms it into actionable insights. Pharmacy owners can monitor their GPR, their GCR, their brand purchasing performance. They can see their rebate projections, purchasing trends, and much more all in one place. So instead of guessing where their money is being lost, they can actually see it and actually make proactive decisions with our tools like the projection calculator.
Kelli, and kind of a follow-up to that, I've been using AI, ChatGPT myself for our publications and for formatting. For spell check, I embarrassed to say that, but yeah, that's actually the main thing that I use it for is spell check. But you have introduced AI into your organization with a platform is it called Clara? I wanted to hear more about that.
It is called Clara. So Clara is our AI-powered purchasing assistant built directly into AdvanceEdge. And as you mentioned, AI is everywhere. And if you can't keep up with AI and use it as a tool and a resource to really make your business more efficient, you're kind of going to be left out. So we've brought AI to AdvanceEdge, and it helps pharmacies identify purchasing opportunities, answer questions about their data, and make smarter buying decisions right there inside the portal. So rather than sorting through reports, members can simply ask questions and receive meaningful insights that help increase profitability right there within the portal on the spot live.
But it doesn't do spell check, right?
It actually, I think it does, because we have spell check capabilities built in. So Todd, I think you'd be in luck.
Oh, I sound like the old geezer on the podcast. Shams, independent pharmacy owners, so busy. Like I said, so much that's going on to stay sometimes in business. It's so stressful. So that key help that they're receiving from a buying group that's tied in and understands the business intimately. Let's talk about that. How does AAPA help simplify things?
Absolutely. Todd, owners wear countless hats every day, and our goal is to remove some of that burden. We monitor their performance, we help identify opportunities being left on the table, and we provide guidance so pharmacists can focus more on their patients rather than figuring out how to, increase their profits when it should just be a simple operation.
Shams, there are several buying groups out there throughout the United States. They've shrunk over the years, but there still could be some kind of confusion. So what are some of the biggest misconceptions that our independent pharmacies have about group purchasing organizations?
I think the biggest misconception would be that many owners think all GPOs are essentially the same. In reality, the level of service, transparency, and advocacy varies tremendously. We encourage our owners to ask questions and understand what they're really receiving, not just the contract, but the ongoing partnership that we provide.
If you're speaking directly to an independent pharmacy owner, they're listening today, Kelli, what's the message?
I think the biggest message is that every purchasing decision impacts your profitability. If you're not measuring performance, you're likely leaving money on the table. And our job at APA is to help pharmacies gain visibility into their business, optimizing purchasing, and make informed decisions that strengthen their financial future. And we would love to be able to take a look at that by running an analysis. So very transparent, data-driven, and that would be the message.
That data can be so confusing, so it's exciting to hear that there's going to be tools to really help the pharmacy owner understand the balance between the generic and the brand and what's happening, what the specials are. This is a special opportunity for our pharmacy owners to engage AAPA. Ask a lot of good questions. Ask Shams, ask Kelli the hard questions in comparison, maybe what you're doing. If you're listening, you didn't get to go to ideaShare, you didn't get to see McKesson ideaShare's teams. This place has been absolutely phenomenal to be around. The energy here this year is definitely on a different level than it was next year, and this is making me excited. There's a lot of hope here for reinventing our community pharmacies, our independent pharmacies out there. So what's next for AAP, Shams?
Todd, we're continuing to invest in technology. I feel like that's the biggest thing, especially with all the new AI, the new AI landscape that's taking over. So we're continuing to invest in technology, we're expanding member resources, and we're strengthening partnerships that bring even greater value to independent pharmacies. Our commitment remains the same as when we started, to ensure independent pharmacies not only survive, but thrive.
We got to have AAPA back, because I want to talk about cash-based opportunities to build your business, your independent community pharmacy business. I want to talk more about engaging the community with services that aren't necessarily tied to prescriptions. Promise me, Kelli and Shams, you'll be back on the Pharmacy Podcast Network.
We'd love to.
Definitely.
All right, you heard it here. The 2026 McKesson ideaShare, brought to you by AAPA coverage, press coverage here in Denver. Hold on, we're going to be right back with more to ideaShare.
Hi, this is Anne Cassity with NCPA, and you're listening to the Pharmacy Podcast.
Hey, I have been waiting for this interview for some time. Anne Cassity, it's so good to see you.
Great to see you too, Todd.
Welcome to Denver.
I know, gosh, it's a great meeting going on right now. Lots of folks here, good weather, so hopefully it's very productive.
We also have Kelli Sneed in from AAPA. We thank you so much, AAPA, for supporting the Pharmacy Podcast press coverage in this special session. Thank you, Kelli.
We thank you for having us, Todd. We're excited.
Absolutely. John Covello.
Good to see you, Todd.
How are you?
I'm fine. I'm once again glad to be on one of your podcasts.
Well, this is great. This is the industry's podcast, and we're here celebrating the success of our independent community pharmacies. A big factor that we understand the pressures of legislation, the pressures of laws throughout the state, and more importantly, eventually the federal level. And give our listeners an overview. What is the state of the nation right now with legislation in support of independent community pharmacy?
Yeah, good question, Todd. I can say that the state of the nation is more positive than ever. I know things feel difficult out there, but I think we're on an upward trajectory when it's coming to PBM reform and making sure pharmacies are treated fairly. So at the beginning of this year, Congress passed really the first ever PBM reform legislation, and it could potentially be a game changer. It deals with Part D, and it would require that Medicare Part D contracts, CMS define what reasonable and relevant contract terms are and enforce them. And the reason that's so important is, number one, Part D is for most of our members who are independent pharmacies, that's the number one payer. And number two, they're the worst payer. So, and number three, states can't do anything about it. So Congress is the only body that can actually provide meaningful Medicare Part D reform.
All right, so John, what about the temperature of the client base of IPC, the member base of IPC, and the hopefulness of where we're at with PBM legislation?
Well, to piggyback on what Anne's saying, to show you how big this is the first reform to anything in Part D in 20 years. So it was monumental to get this after living through the nightmare of what we had to do to fix DIRs. And dealing this year with the implementation of the negotiated drugs. This change really is monumental, but it's also the first time in my memory, and correct me if I'm wrong, that there's ever been anything done on PBMs for the commercial space federally.
That's correct.
So, it takes a lot of dedication, it takes a lot of grit and continuous efforts in this, but to get federal legislation passed in those two areas, it took years, and that's what tends to happen in my experience in Congress. It takes years to build towards identification of a problem and the commitment legislatively to get a solution and getting it put into place. But, we continue to have successes at the state level. IPC was very involved in two big wins in Ohio and Kansas. I know our partners, certainly with NCPA and others around the industry, it's really big. But as Anne will tell you, our work really only begins in earnest once we get a bill passed, because it's the implementation of what we have to see to get the government entities to implement it right, interpret it right, and follow through on it. And then the real effort is to make sure the enforcement is there of it. And our members, that's the goal we have. They are the ones telling us and real-time experience at the counters with their patients, whether these laws, in fact, are working. And then the other big thing we're doing, Todd, and in Medicaid managed care reforms, this is really proven out. It's the evaluation. Did this work? Did the policy changes work? What did they produce that we were advocating for? Did it improve payments? Did it save governments or private payers money in the process? And most importantly, did it improve the services and the quality of what we're doing for patients and stay invested in communities? And I think, Anne, on all these levels, we're continuing to see more and more successes we can document each year, but this year was kind of a very big culmination at the federal level.
Yeah, absolutely. And so there's two other things that are outstanding right now at the federal level. I think that have actually three that I think have a really good chance potentially in moving this Congress, and that's really, and that doesn't happen very often. So you brought up Medicaid managed care. Yep. That's been a priority, Medicaid managed care payment reform for IPC, AAPA, NCPA, and all the groups out there, and that would require every state Medicaid managed care program to pay at the fee-for-service rate. We were very, very close to getting that also included in the January package. Right. There was what happened is CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, who determines if things are going to cost money or save money, and their word is it, if they come out. So there were some concerns on how they had to do a new analysis, because let me just step back for a second. That Medicaid bill, there had been a savings booked, according to CBO, for the last 5 years. They'd been saving, it was going to save billions. That was going to be an easy thing to pass. The last minute, CBO looked at it again, because after the big, beautiful bill last year, CBO was required to rescore everything in Medicaid. And then they came back and they said, well, we may have a problem here. We think they're doing the analysis wrong. They're relooking at it. So there's a lot of support in Congress. And then two other things, TRICARE, which has been a huge issue for years and years and years, and DOD has been our greatest challenge, because Express Scripts runs they run the program, they have their pharmacies in the program, and DOD says, we have a contract with them, we're out, we stay out of it. We've been wanting an audit for years. They've been fighting an audit. I always say it's been easier to get nuclear secrets out, no, seriously, than to get what ESI is paying themselves. So just recently, the House Armed Services Committee and the Senate Armed Services Committee both included audit language in the National Defense Authorization Act. May not sound like a big deal, but this is what they've killed the last couple of years, and it would require Express Scripts to disclose what they pay their own pharmacies. We believe, based on how hard they've been fighting not to make that public, they've probably been paying themselves much higher rate than other pharmacies. So I think this will be a huge deal, and I think we have a really good chance of getting this legislation passed this year.
So Todd, always view it this way. Whenever somebody's fighting not to disclose and be transparent, they have something to hide. So it'll be the next version of $600 hammers and $2,000 toilet seats. We'll find out how much all these prescriptions are really costing.
We even tried to get an amendment last year. We said that DOD could report it confidentially, like they do nuclear secrets to the Armed Services Committee, and they fought that. So I'm just telling you, that's how much they want to keep this secret.
Kelli, what's the temperature of the client base that you work with? I hear the term PBM reform fatigue, because people are just like, when is things going to happen? But what are you getting from client base, and what do you want to let pharmacy owners know out there?
So I think for the first time ever, after the federal legislation was passed this year, that we did see some positive feedback and just a celebration. I mean, I know it's not where we want it to be, but there was definitely a victory across AAPA members, and they actually see that the dollars that we pour back into advocacy and working with our partners, IPC and NCPA, really does pay off. I mean, it's not a fast race, it's a marathon, but I definitely think that they're more positive and understand, and that's one of the things we encourage, and we hope that all of our members get more engaged with NCPA. We really, we would not be able to do a lot of the things we do at the state level without their support, because their resources are just abundant when it comes to, the last minute things that we need to do too. If there's a I know John's been there too whenever we need him to go and be a resource when we need him at the state level.
And that's a big part of the success. And I want to publicly thank Kelli and certainly thank Anne and her whole team. We have really, I think, in the last few years, honed together very good ad hoc and some formal coalition gatherings, pharmacy umbrellas, where we are strategizing and speaking with one voice, and then we're all bringing the strengths of the information we have to the table, whether it's on Capitol Hill, federal agencies, or equally as important, or in many ways more importantly, in the states. And these successes don't just happen without everybody collaborating. And I think, Anne, you can say, everybody's really come to the table together, driven towards the same goals.
No, absolutely. You'll never get anything passed unless you're speaking with one voice, because what happens is our opponents, PCMA and others, if there is one voice that is maybe saying something different, that they'll use that against us and say pharmacy is not united. And quite frankly, in the past, that's been one of pharmacy's weaknesses, right? We just haven't spoken with one voice, and it's frustrating, but I've seen that. Look, I've seen that change, especially over the last 3 years, and I don't think it's any surprise, right, or coincidence. We're starting to see more positive wins, especially at the federal level, and even at the state level. Things that are being done at the states. A couple years ago, you would have never in a million years thought that Arkansas would pass legislation, prohibiting PBMs from owning pharmacies in the state. You would think that was unheard of, but what's very interesting about that is, people talk about we're in a free market, that's problematic, but there's a lot of legislators, interestingly enough, conservative legislators, who don't necessarily, for instance, will even support legislation that may prohibit different acts because they don't really believe in that, but they are very supportive of structural changes. I'll use Josh Hawley from Missouri, very conservative senator, and it's been frustrating, doesn't get on our legislation a lot. He's the lead on I call it the Arkansas-Tennessee bill, but actually it was originally a federal bill. It would prohibit at a national level PBMs from owning pharmacies. And Josh Hawley is the lead Republican, and because he's like, this is how we should do it. I don't believe in sort of the whack-a-mole approach, even though, we have to do that too, right? So it's unbelievable, the sea change over the last couple of years.
That's incredible, and that's what we need to repeat is what Tennessee and Arkansas has done, proving to the legislation that it's not good for public health to have so much consolidation, vertical integration. It takes decisions away from physicians, pharmacists, patients, not knowing where to go. Next thing you know, pharmacists shut down, and you have to drive 30 miles away just to get to a pharmacy.
So the argument for consolidation has always been right. Decreased cost improves access. What's happened over the last 15 years with consolidation? Costs have gone up, access has gone down. So that argument is out of the window.
Yep. And Todd, I think there have also been some other forces that have proven that the PBMs have not saved money and they have not improved outcomes, and everything they say they do is now being questioned. And there's a very interesting article out there, if you ever get it, about Rite Aid. Basically, the reporter wrote this, that CVS stepped on the throat of a competitor and then they killed him. And I keep coming back to the basics things, of follow the money that the PBMs control. When you allow somebody to take money of other people's, decide how much to pay themselves and their competitors, I don't know where economic advantages come to anybody in the system except for those entities in the middle controlling the money. And I've certainly seen it. I know Anne has. And remember back in the years, you couldn't get people to understand what the initials PBM stood for. They couldn't spell it, Now, you have members telling you stories about it, and they're catching on to the problems of what's going on. And what's other really interesting is the efforts of the federal agencies. I go back to when, and remember when the FTC would take the opposite viewpoint. We can't interfere in this. If you do, it'll increase costs. They've done a complete 180. They've seen that these are not functioning marketplaces that have any economic efficiencies for anybody but these entities. It's no surprise that CVS and Aetna and Cigna are in the top 15 of the Fortune 500 companies. It's follow where the money's going. But the other thing for me, you were asking about what's heartening this, and I really value the partnership with these two organizations and others. We've really gotten our members to step up. The amount of grassroots involvement, and we oftentimes talk about how do we message this right so that, again, what you were saying, Ann, whether it's the Hill or State Capitol, they're hearing the same thing of what the message is on advocacy. People woke up, I think, after Rutledge. They saw hope. They saw recognition after COVID. And we've been challenging them, and I got to applaud all pharmacy owners out there. They've been stepping up with the increases in their efforts at grassroots, and I know you can talk about store engagement with their elected officials.
Yeah, grassroots has been unbelievable, but you know what else pharmacies have done is they've gotten their patients engaged, and that, to me, that if there is a silver bullet, it's the beneficiaries and the patients calling in. We ran this campaign called Finish the Fight for about 12 months before the final PBM bill was signed. There was about 87,000 patients that wrote into Congress. So I appreciate pharmacists because, it takes a village and it takes everyone, so it's fantastic. And like what John mentioned, get your legislators into your store. Yes. I think that's the single most effective advocacy tool. Y'all, they're going into recess in August, and it is and they're all, the entire House is up for re-election, and so they may want to come into your pharmacy for a picture, but take that advantage and educate them. So get them into your pharmacy.
You're absolutely correct. Use it as a PR opportunity for the legislator, but then educate them while they're there about what you do.
However you can get them in, get them in your pharmacy. But I found that is the single most effective advocacy tool out there.
And it has an added benefit too, Todd, that's political. If you get a member, I don't care if it's the mayor, city council member, state legislator, member of Congress, they see you having better interaction and personal relationships to their constituents they do not have. That's the political power of getting into advocacy and getting elected officials to come to your business. When they see that you're on first name basis with people they need the votes of, that's power beyond just political contributions.
I love it. Well, I want to thank you. I want to thank Kelli and AAPA for helping us to fund this and put this together. Thank you so much, John and IPC. And you are a rock star. We so much appreciate you. And thank you so much and shout out to NCPA for all of your work. You're listening to the Pharmacy Podcast here at McKesson ideaShare 2026.
Independent pharmacy is more than a business. It's the heart of the communities you serve. At AAPA, we're committed to helping independent pharmacies thrive in an increasingly complex healthcare landscape. As one of the nation's leading pharmacy purchasing organizations, AAPA empowers over 650 independent pharmacies across 26 states with the tools, resources, and advocacy needed to strengthen profitability and improve patient care. From competitive purchasing programs and transparent rebate opportunities to advanced analytics through the Advantage portal and AI-powered purchasing insights from Clara, the Advantage Intelligence, we help pharmacy owners make smarter, data-driven decisions every day. But we're more than a GPO. We're a dedicated partner. Our team works alongside members to identify opportunities, navigate industry challenges, and deliver personalized support that drives measurable results. When independent pharmacies succeed, communities benefit. If you're ready to maximize your purchasing power, gain actionable insights, and join a network committed to your success, discover the AAPA difference. AAPA. Stronger together, smarter purchasing, better results.
Mike Bollinger from LiveOak Bank here at the McKesson ideaShare 2026. Denver. How much did you get out to Denver, Mike?
Not enough. However, my wife and kids are coming out tomorrow, so we're going to spend a whole week out here.
So my wife and my kids spent their second time with me at a conference last year in Orlando, and we got to finally do something family-ish, because every time I go to a conference, I see the inside of an airport, the inside of an Uber, the inside of the hotel, the inside of the convention hall, and that's it. And then it's time to go home. So that's good. That's good. You're bringing your family on, a little relaxation and stuff. So LiveOak Bank, you're not new to pharmacy. You guys have been around quite some time. You and I have done podcasts in the past, which has been wonderful. There is some really interesting news. I think it's a game changer of what you guys announced recently. LiveOak Bank has always been known as a lender to help pharmacies start up. They've always been a lender to help pharmacies acquire other pharmacies and add on to their growth. But you guys are now a bank, like a traditional business bank for the same customer. Tell us about that. That's really exciting.
Yeah, so it's been fun. So since 2008, we have lent $1.2 billion to the pharmacy space. We're known as an SBA lender. We've also started to do some conventional lending. However, in the last 2 years, we've really built a robust deposit play. And so what we're doing now is we're helping pharmacies specifically with their checking accounts, with their savings accounts. We have a high yield savings. We have different functionality to help the pharmacy owners build capacity with how they're running their business. Let's be honest, nobody's thinking about changing their banking relationship every day. It's sometimes pretty difficult. We're taking a lot of those things out of the equation, and we're making it into bite-sized pieces to where it's done in a good way, in a very intentional way, but also at the end of the day, they're going to build capacity for their time, how they move money. The days of thinking about moving money on a Monday for when you need it on a Thursday, we can remove some of those barriers. And I think it's a really fun transition for us to be making right now.
That's incredible. So does that include the pharmacy owner's personal accounts too, and being able to separate them?
No, so we're still doing business only.
Okay.
And so we're all business focused. But yeah, we're helping the business checking and savings now.
So talk to us about how the pharmacy deserts have taken away necessary healthcare services from some of those pockets of the United States, and how LiveOak Bank, coupled with aspiring entrepreneurial and very aggressive pharmacy owners. Talk to us about how the expansion has been lately, maybe picking up any stores that Rite Aid collapsed, or picking up other independent community pharmacy stores, but tell us some about those stories.
Yeah, so it's been a really interesting thing. So I've been in the space, way too long, but the idea that we used to do one single owner, one owner would just run that, own and operate that pharmacy. We've seen the evolution of the pharmacy owners owning 2, 3, 5, 30 locations. And to your point, there's a lot of areas that are losing their pharmacies. These owners are going in and figuring out how do they own and operate, and it's through scale, right? So they're using their scale to then put pharmacies back into those locations. And so we've really worked a lot with the multi-store owners, and we've really pushed our direction that way. We still do the onesie-twosie pharmacy owners, but a lot of it is the multi-store owner, and helping them grow the business so that they can reach some of those deserts or rural areas that have lost their pharmacies.
If there's an owner, a pharmacy, pharmacist that wants to start a pharmacy, they're listening to today's podcast, they want to know more, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Sure. So you can go to liveoakbank.com. Well, actually, we're liveoak.bank now. You can go to, you can follow me, Mike.Bollinger at liveoak.bank. But our pharmacy team, we have Greco de Valencia and Shayla Long, two of the best lenders in the space, and Nina Murray is our pharmacy dedicated banker now. So you have several resources for us to reach out to.
That's cool. Mike, it's great to see you here in Denver. Thank you so much for being on the Podcast Press Show, and we look forward to hearing more success from LiveOak Bank.
It's great to be here at ideaShare. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Hey, my name is Jake Johnson, pharmacist with Palms Pharmacy, and you're listening to the Pharmacy Podcast.
Shahida, Jake from Palms Pharmacy, it's so good to have you here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
I finally get to hang out with Jake for a little bit.
Yes.
I watch him on social media. I know him as like the abused staff member.
Oh, poor guy. He's wonderful. Well, was the only male at Palms Pharmacy, but now we have another.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Not too bad. I would like to. I like working for women, and I like working around women. We live in an industry that 62% of of pharmacists are women, so it's a woman-dominated industry.
It's because we rock.
You do rock.
That's true.
Talk to us about an update about what's been going on in your life, Shahida, and being here at McKesson ideaShare. Also share about your award. Goodness gracious.
Oh, Lord have mercy. So first, we'll talk about Palms Pharmacy before the award. So Palms Pharmacy, we are now a URAC accredited mail order pharmacy,
nice,
as well as a mail service pharmacy.
Nice.
That good? Good. Yeah. So we are.
Don't forget about the mails. You know what I mean?
I know, right? Sorry. So we are, mail order pharmacy, an official one now.
It's incredible.
Yeah, but we're also retail, compounding. We do a lot of things, so that's one of our big achievements, right, Jake?
Yeah, your act was a big deal for us, so that was exciting.
That's a lot of work, too. And it's expensive.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it was. Trust me. That's why we're telling you, because we spent a lot of money on
Yeah,
this.
everybody needs to know now.
Yes, it's very expensive, very time-consuming.
Yeah.
And the upkeep is also fun, too. Expensive.
Documentation.
All that stuff. So that's, what else? Anything else new with us?
You're a trailblazer.
Oh, yes, that too. Yes.
Oh, you forgot to mention that.
I forgot to mention. Yes, McKesson awarded me the Trailblazer Award, right?
Yeah, the Trailblazer of the Year Award.
Yeah. No, is it of the year? It should be forever.
Well, we all know you're the Trailblazer of forever, but
Right? I think
McKesson has to give it to someone next year.
Well, they need to change the name, okay? Because I think I am forever.
The
Okay.
Forever Trailblazer.
Yeah, so that was it was a huge honor for them, for me to receive it, for them too. Hello.
It's important, two different things I want to say. Number one, the social media interaction that you put out from Palms Pharmacy is hilarious, but it's also a lesson to other independent pharmacy owners that they should be marketing themselves. They should be branding themselves out there. Number two, your inspiration, Shahida, as a pharmacy owner, not only to pharmacy owners, but women pharmacy owners, is very important because there's a lot of people there who have self-doubt and saying, I can't do it. Talk to us about the jump from when you worked for someone else and you began working for yourself. What was that transition like for you in starting?
I'm still transitioning. That sounds bad. I didn't mean that.
Transitioning.
But
from Shahida to Shahida the Trailblazer.
I know. What? It's a huge transition. No, there is a transition from community pharmacy, retail pharmacist to owner. There's a lot of what's that syndrome? It's a syndrome.
Self-doubt, but
what
it's called
imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. Yes.
The official word.
Yes. There's a lot of that.
Thank you,
That's
Jake.
me every day. Yeah.
It's the pharmacist that,
Thank you, Jake.
chimed in.
Thank you.
That's what I'm here for.
Just keeping us straight.
Yeah. So that is an everyday thing. Even when people come up to me and congratulate me, I'm always like, oh my God. Oh yeah, thank you. You know, it's really difficult for me, but going from a retail pharmacist to an owner, it's a huge learning curve. As of today, I'm still learning from other pharmacy owners. So it's ever changing and you have to be open to learn as well. If you just think you know it all, God bless. I think, you just got to keep learning.
Never ends.
And your team's so important, finding the right people. You were talking to me about that yesterday at the IPC party. Having the right team and the right mix is so important to the culture of Palms Pharmacy. So talk to us about that as well.
Oh, it is huge. I mean, first, you got to lead by example when it comes to team culture. Because if I didn't invest in my team, they wouldn't invest in me and Palms Pharmacy. And also picking the right folks that have great work ethic, just great. I mean, for me, it's aura. I got to see if they're a good person. Like this person standing right next to us.
I know, that's not on mic.
Come close.
Angie.
Like our director.
Angie is the Jedi Master of the social media.
Yes, you should introduce yourself. Angie, our Director of Operations.
Hello.
It is Angie.
Yes, she is our HR. She's our really also the other half.
You're the one. You make Angie fire everybody.
Oh, why are you telling everybody this? Okay. But she also hires them too.
She hires them too.
Yes.
So
yes. Hires.
She's smiling at you, or she's pointing the finger out the door. If you don't behave.
Yes. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Whatever. I want to I want to ask you something, Jake. So the realm of community pharmacy, especially in the big box chain pharmacy environment, you probably have people that you went to pharmacy school that feel like they're burning out or they feel stressed because of the environment that they're in. Talk to us about the difference of being part of an independent community pharmacy that's privately owned versus any experience you had in the major chain realm.
Yeah, my only really experience tended to be with rotations through some of the big box chains, and I could tell right away it was just a completely different atmosphere, patient-wise, professional-wise, and that's really why I liked staying with Palms Pharmacy as an intern and then as a pharmacist. I get to do things I would never get to do at other pharmacies. I get to implement new things. I get any ideas I have, she's really open to and receptive to. So that's fun for me. It keeps things changing. That's really why I like it.
I'm always in the IPC booth. It's because of Shahida that we have the partnership with IPC, which I'm so thankful for, and kicking it off years ago. But your ability to dig deeper into clinical services, what are you guys doing? Like, we just talked with somebody about full script and being able to take supplements, and then there's other tracks. Like, what are you guys doing in clinical services, Jake?
Well, we do have another pharmacist who's kind of starting to take over that realm with clinical services and in the actual clinic that we have.
Yes.
Digging deeper into,
but I think we're trying to do, more like diabetes management, monitoring, remote monitoring, stuff like that. It's kind of what we're trying to move into and forward with.
Are we allowed to talk about the new entity that's coming about at the...
Which one?
At the clinic?
Oh, yeah, the pharmacy?
Yeah.
The pharmacy, right?
So that's better connected for clinical services, too.
Oh, that is going to be at least 85 to 90% clinical services.
Let's back up for the listeners so they don't realize. So Palms Pharmacy now has a Palms Pharmacy Express.
Yes.
It's embedded in a clinic.
Yes. It's a primary care clinic. We have a pharmacy that's already built out. We're just waiting to open. I've been dragging my feet. It'll be very clinical oriented. They'll be working close with the nurse practitioners there to do remote patient monitoring. We'll have also the in-body in there to make sure all patients, including our GLP-1 patients, that are monitoring their muscle loss, their fat loss, all that great stuff, and bone loss as well. That's pretty important. We'll be offering thank you, Angie. A lot of shots, a lot of vaccinations. Thank you. Dancing as well. No, just joking.
Oh, wow. Just go to Instagram and look up Palms Pharmacy.
Hello. As well as consults, vitamin consults, lab consults, OTCs. We have a formulary, and it'll be a really cute pharmacy.
But this is the model, Shahida, for the future of independent community pharmacy. You can't be the old-fashioned, let's just do a bunch of dispensing and think we're going to make it.
You got to innovate, and you got to try to stay ahead of the curve. Is what we try to do.
What do you think the percentage is of revenue that's coming from dispensing versus extra services? What's the percentage you think in your own business between those two?
For Palms itself, it is dispensing just because mail order. That's a different entity.
Yeah.
But definitely for the second pharmacy, I definitely want a proof of concept. So I will tell you when that
next year.
Yes, I would say by the end of the year, I will definitely know more on how it falls. But we have a lot of clinical services that we'll be offering, especially with the medical billing side, because I know everybody's been talking about that medical billing for consults. I will actually have numbers for you.
Okay. And then what about something like women's services or advertising in the greater Tampa area, that you are the center for women's health services or something?
That is definitely coming through, and we're going to get certified in our favorite word, menopause. So menopause, that's what we'll be talking about, and we'll be advertising a lot of women's health stuff because a lot of women are looking for menopause assistance.
Shahida and the Palms Pharmacy team. Jake, thanks so much for taking your time to be on the show. We appreciate everything that you do. A shout out to Angie on the house. Can't wait to do our next TikTok-ish, Instagram-ish.
Yes, definitely. Please follow us on all platforms, please.
Palms Pharmacy.
Yes. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Blair Thielemier with PQS by Innovaccer, and you're listening to the Pharmacy Podcast.
Blair Thielemier, it's been too long since you've been on the shows. It's so good to talk with you. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Todd?
It's very good. You know, of all the people in the pharmacy industry, I want to be the one to do a biography of you sometime via podcast, because I've been watching your career probably since I started getting involved in helping you right around 2018, but I started paying attention to you, and I think we linked up LinkedIn probably 2014-15. But you have evolved. It reminds me of what the pharmacy industry is going through. Just open up and just in case people don't know you, give us a little background of your pedigree in the business of pharmacy.
Absolutely. So I'm a clinical pharmacist. I've always, been very passionate about community, especially independent pharmacy and clinical services being offered there. So as a pharmacist in Arkansas, we have provider status, but in 2015 we didn't.
Yep.
So my journey was really about exploring and understanding what clinical services I could offer at the time, which is now exciting to me to see so many of these new opportunities in medical billing realized. Because back then, 2015, I was writing a blog. That's why my career is very multifaceted. But I was writing and blogging about MTM services, really for Medicare D patients, and I was talking about provider status and what was coming. But I think the main message, and I think the through line throughout my career has been being able to implement the services that you can already do. And I think that's where, as an individual, you kind of say, so much is changing, like we need so much reform, there's a lot of stuff going on, what can I do as an individual? And for me, it was doing what I was able to do, how I was able to practice in the state of Arkansas and sharing that information with other people on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And so many pharmacists kept reaching out to me and saying, how do we do point of care testing? How do we do chronic care management? How do we do pharmacogenomic testing?
Yeah.
And so I've done a lot of different stuff in my career. I'm really excited that pharmacy's really getting to a point to where clinical services are not something offered separate from the dispensing process, but actually integrated in the dispensing process.
And you've been waiting for this because you were really ahead of the curve for 12 years, which is just nuts to think of how innovative you were. Another innovation history point is you launched the very first online conference that was dedicated to pharmacy, very entrepreneurial, where you would take people and really teach them, coach them, and then of course they could sign up for some of your consultative services later. That plays into Equip, that plays into PQS, that plays into the whole kind of like philosophy of the organization. So talk to us about that transition of now going back into a company where your entrepreneurial spirit and understanding now gets amplified by what they've built.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think throughout my career, I was really focused on how do we diversify revenue for community pharmacies? How are we changing practice and how are we innovating? When I was working through Northeast Arkansas and Southwest Missouri, I was able to use the Equip dashboard to monitor star ratings, and we would put these patients on MedSync or, offer comprehensive medication reviews, doing MTM type stuff. When I saw what Equip has built, so PQS was a company that came from the PQA quality measures. So we really helped to set up a dashboard that gave pharmacies an understanding of where they were landing on the star ratings, performance chart. So I had been using it as a pharmacist in my own practice when they showed me, this was about a year and a half ago. I think it was at the APHA in Nashville that we saw each other. And when they showed me this piece of software that connects to the pharmacy's dispensing system, that doesn't require a login to a new portal in order to understand what opportunities there are. People can capture it right there within their workflow in the dispensing process. And that's when I really said, this makes any community pharmacy a clinical service pharmacy, and it makes any pharmacist a clinical pharmacist. It makes it super easy for people to be able to capture these medical billing services.
And then get paid for it.
Exactly. Diversification of revenue. I mean, my career has really come full circle to now we have the technology in place that allows pharmacists to do this without having to step into a different portal or stop what they're doing and call a patient. So most of these opportunities are offered face-to-face. And that's the way, my great-grandfather was a pharmacist in the Chicago area. And that's the way I think he would recognize my practice today as being very patient care, face-to-face type of services.
So as a kind of a splinter to the next thing that's kind of where we're going, I don't think dispensing is the future of community pharmacy. I think it's just kind of like a transaction per se. I think the future is digging deep into a patient that has diabetes or hypertension, or maybe they want to get pregnant, or maybe they're trying to get healthier, or whatever's happening. And now they're going to meet up with their physician. The physician's going to give them kind of a check and balance overview, and then they're going to give the baton to that pharmacist that's ready for it. But they have to have the infrastructure. They have to have the pieces of technology prepared. That's what you guys are doing at Equip PQS.
Exactly. So I get excited about point-of-care testing services, too. So at PQS, we do have a controlling blood pressure opportunity. We have A1C opportunities. So these are paid opportunities for pharmacists to be able to do point-of-care testing services. And I was at a session this morning where they did an A1C on a patient, came back super high. That same day, they got him an over-the-counter continuous glucose monitor, and now they're doing remote physiologic monitoring on that patient. His A1C is at goal. His doctor said, "What did y'all do?" And a lot of it was lifestyle change. He didn't realize he was eating a giant bowl of cereal before bed, every night, and that was spiking. I know, right? So serving size, it's not something that we really think about as pharmacists, but we're the ones dispensing that medication. We're the ones, handing out the GLP-1s. You have to have a conversation about lifestyle modification, preventative services. I think pharmacy, we've always kind of, with clinical services anyway, it's been patients with 2 or more chronic conditions, 6 or more medications. What I'm seeing is a shift. Pharmacy's demographic is now, we have the opportunity to focus on a much younger, much healthier population, especially women. We're making a lot of the decisions about healthcare for our family members. So pharmacies that are offering strep and flu testing for, in Arkansas, kids over the age of 3, we can do strep and flu. So I'm seeing a diversification of revenue, but also of patients that are coming into the pharmacy for the first time, and they're looking for peptides, they're looking for supplements, they're looking for, lifestyle recommendations, and there's much more of a focus on, well, how do I stay healthy? If you go into the physician's office and tell them you're healthy, they're going to be like, why are you here? Yeah. So I really see this opportunity for pharmacies to be the experts around health and wellness too, and to position themselves in that way and capture that whole new market share.
Yep, and make money for sure. Mm-hmm. All right, so someone's listening, they're interested in learning more. What's the best way to reach out to you and get a hold of you?
PharmacyQualitySolutions.com would be the best way to get in touch with us at PQS to get set up on the Equip dashboard. We are connected in most pharmacies in the United States, chains, independents, all community pharmacies have access to the Equip dashboard. So getting your access, getting online, trying out the Copilot. We have a 30-day free trial with that software. You can access that through our website as well. And they are welcome to reach out to me too. So Blair, Thielemier, LinkedIn's probably the easiest place to find me. But I always welcome taking these opportunities to meet and connect, and let's hop on a quick Zoom meeting and talk about pharmacy opportunities.
Absolutely. One of Pharmacy 50 alumni, one of the most influential people in pharmacy. I can't remember which year it was because we've done them so many times now. I think we're coming up on our 6th season, but this has been wonderful to catch up with you. I hope that I can get you back maybe on This Week in Pharmacy and bring a pharmacy owner with you that's used the system to kind of give us a testimonial layout of how there's been a profitability change in their business too.
Absolutely. I would love that.
All right. Thank you, Blair.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Nick Fournarakis from Fagron. You're listening to the Pharmacy Podcast.
Nicholas, thanks so much for joining me here at the IPC booth. We're talking about ideaShare, McKesson ideaShare 2026. It's great to see you.
You too, Todd. Thanks for having me.
All right, so the reason why I was excited to talk with you is independent community pharmacy is going through a massive changes in order to make the difference between relying on a dispensing fee as the central point of their income and starting to do more value-based clinical documentation, remote patient monitoring, contraception. Like, there's other things happening that an independent community pharmacy can offer their community that the community needs anyway, and it's going to bring them more revenue. Compounding is a gold mine, and we're so proud to have the APC, Scott and his team, on the Pharmacy Podcast Network that brings us lots of great information, updates on what's happening with compounding legislation. Fagron has been a champion of compounding. I don't even know how long, longer than I've probably been in pharmacy. I've been here since 2004, and really has been always in touch with not only pharmacies that are already in it, but pharmacies that want to get in it. So talk to us about the state of independent community pharmacy and compounding.
Yeah, so I think with kind of what's going on with pharmacy right now, just like you said, with the negative reimbursements that pharmacies are dealing with, it's obviously a stressful time for pharmacies out there. And I love to see that there are so many states that are working on legislation, or they've enacted legislation for independent pharmacies to actually be able to kind of recoup some of that negative reimbursement. But one of the big things for independent pharmacies that they can actually get into, and we're seeing more and more pharmacies actually doing it, is compounding. Obviously, there are a lot of regulations, really regulated by not only the FDA, but more so the state boards of pharmacy, right? So there are states that are a little more stringent than other states. We always kind of know what those states are. So when we're working with a pharmacy, whether it's a pharmacy that is an existing pharmacy, startup that is wanting to get into compounding, we work with them to kind of go from A to Z with everything that they're going to need. And then in addition to that, we also look at, are they looking to open a pharmacy that's just compounding, or have they been doing it for 10 years and they're redoing their lab, or adding hazardous, or adding sterile. What we're seeing a lot of right now is a lot of the pharmacies that are already doing compounding, now they're adding sterile, because obviously with GLP-1s, things like that, with peptides coming down the road, we kind of see that that's going to be the next big cash cow, if you will. So we kind of look at that, and the biggest thing for pharmacies that are wanting to get into compounding is they need to kind of know where to start. That's the cool thing with Fagron. We have everything from A to Z. We have our active pharmaceutical ingredients. We have dietary supplements that are now API grade, which can be used for compounding. Along with that, we have our bases that you would mix the APIs in. We have all kinds of equipment, any equipment that a pharmacy is going to need to actually do that compounding. We have that. And then in addition, we have education. So the courses, the support, we have compounding support, which is called FACS. We have that. We have a couple of pharmacists on the team that are just phenomenal. And then in addition to that, we have incredible customer service. Our sales team, our customer success team, all the support on the back end, the warehouse, really everyone comes together to make sure that the customer gets the absolute best experience that we can give them. And that's what I love about working for this company and being in this industry is we can really make a huge impact, obviously for the patient, right? The patient is the end user. But when you're talking about pharmacies, we want to help pharmacies grow. And compounding does that. Compounding, most compounds, you're looking at about a $40 to $50, maybe $55, average that you can make with a compound because most aren't covered by insurance. So that can really be a big boost for pharmacies that are getting into it.
Nicholas, I remember hearing about a multi-million-dollar investment that Fagron made into an education center in southern Florida. And then you bring pharmacies in for days of training on specific things. You guys still doing that?
So we haven't done the on-site, hands-on training.
Probably since COVID, kicked it out, huh?
That's, that's exactly it. But we have had a lot of requests for that. Right now, we do have a home study course for non-sterile for customers wanting to get into compounding, and that's something we always recommend as well. But due to demand, I believe that we're going to be bringing that back very soon.
That'd be great.
It would be incredible. And then there's a lot of customers that are out there. They might be more familiar with some of our competition, and they're more familiar with the name Letco. So I just want to make sure that we're clearing that up, that Letco is part of Fagron. Fagron acquired Letco. So you're getting that same service, that same quality, but it's Fagron. So that falls under our brand. And there's several companies that fall under the Fagron umbrella, and we're all committed to ensuring that the customer has success.
Nicholas, I want to have you back on This Week in Pharmacy. I want to talk with one of your client customers that has been using your services, and then I'm going to reach out to your marketing team to see if we can't get that training center, the grand opening, because I want to be there for it. Because I heard about it, I was excited about it, and then like I said, I think COVID spoiled it for everybody. And
for sure.
Let's do it. Let's get vacation packages for people that want to take a little time off, come to South Florida, learn something about their business, and move forward.
That would be amazing. Well, just make sure that if they're getting started or they're enhancing their lab, that they come to us for equipment as well. I'll be happy to take care of them. And our sales team, like I said, they're just absolutely incredible. They will bend over backwards to help any customers with pricing and things to help them kind of increase their revenue and make it mutually beneficial. So that's what it's all about, and we wouldn't be here without our customers. So we're excited to be here at McKesson ideaShare and supporting our customers.
Well, we were glad to have you, and thanks so much for being part of the show.
Thanks for having me, Todd. Appreciate it.